Hey guys, so today I want to talk about the brand Labo. And here's what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to talk about all 18 fragrances that are listed in their classic collection and try to tell you which ones I think are the best and which might be worth considering or just starting with a sample. Now, I'm not going to spend the same time talking about each fragrance. In fact, many of the fragrances I'll just mention very briefly my initial impression, and that's because I didn't test all of these fragrances to the same extent, right? That would be very expensive. So I didn't get a chance to do that. What I did was, I'm located in New York City. I've been here 6 years, and I just kind of left off, ever visiting Labo, and I finally went. And what I did was I went to one of their boutiques. I think there are, around 4 or 5 of those here in the city. I went to one and they had all 18 laid out in their classic collection, and they were sort of grouped together as the woody fragrance, the woody family, the floral family, the etc. stuff or citruses. And so I walked through all of them on first pass, and then let each one dry down. And I had strong thoughts initially about which one stood out to me, right? And I would test those more and test those more. So I spent about 30 minutes in the store, right? And ultimately picked out my favorite 5 of the ones that I liked. And then I went ahead and bought the 1.5 ml samples, which I'll show you here. The packaging is in this little bag, and they basically sell each, all their fragrances in these little samples, right? So you can buy these individually, which is great. And I think that's actually the smart thing to do. Now, if you try to buy their discovery sets, you may be limited, depending on which set you buy, you may be limited to, their most popular, what they consider to be most popular, and that might not be your favorite, right? So what I did was I walked through all of them and picked my favorite and then tested those further, okay? So I'll talk to you mostly about those 5 and then mention the others and generally who I think that those other ones would appeal to. If you get, they sell a discovery set of 17, all their 17 fragrances, and that costs, I think, $90, right? So that's, even sampling Labo is expensive. So I want to kind of give you guys a good sense. I couldn't see really like an overview of the whole entire line. People were mentioning their favorites here and there, but I want to kind of give you a broad overview of their entire line, okay? Now, first of all, with the brand Labo, I think it's one of those you obviously have heard of because if you're watching this video, it's one of the big names, right, in niche perfumery. I think Labo, Byredo, maybe Jo Malone, but Jo Malone I consider closer to designer. It's just more widespread and cheaper. Then you have Atelier Cologne. I think those are all sort of the niche perfumes that are for the masses, right? In the sense that they're equally expensive as everything else, but they're well marketed. They have a huge presence. They actually have a bunch of brick and mortar stores, especially in places, big cities, and also throughout the world. Oh, the brand I didn't mention is Diptyque also, right? And I think that particularly Diptyque, Labo, and Byredo appeal to women who are interested in perfumes and want to be chic and a little more up class and different. They kind of want to stand out, from your average designer sense, right? This is like the first place that they look to, right? So that's why it's an important house to at least try, and I finally did. Okay, so let's talk first about the 5 that were my personal favorites. Okay. Now, I wore some yesterday and I'm wearing some today. It's hard to, obviously wear all of them. So the ones that I tested out before, I'll go off my memory and my notes, right? I want to give you a fresh spray, but, because the sample is small, I don't want to waste it for now. Later, maybe I'll do a full review, okay? But, okay, so I'm going to reference my notes since there's so many fragrances to mention, right? And it's hard to keep track, okay? So let's start with the most obvious choice, right? Well, actually, first of all, let me mention the 5, right? So you get a heads up, okay? The 5 that stood out to me, right, were Santal 33, Bay 19, Bergamot 22, Ambrette 9, and Patchouli 24. And I liked others as well, but I had to narrow it to those. And you see that there are more, 3 of the 5 are woody scents, okay? So that's kind of my personal taste, what I lean towards. Also, I found that the woody category with Labo fragrances were a bit more unique and niche smelling, and sort of I consider it more worth the money than some of the floral scents or the other scents, okay, aside from Bergamot 22. You know, I found that the whole house in general, it wasn't as unique as the scents that Byredo comes out with, which, you know, I'm not saying they're necessarily better, but they're a little more unique, things you haven't smelled before. But Le Labo, it's sort of, they're taking notes that are really important in perfumery and then really delivering high quality, you know, interpretations of that note, right? Let's start with Santal 33. Right? This is Le Labo's signature scent, their most iconic, most popular probably, the one that most people are familiar with and might start with. So I kind of, you know, I wanted to hate in the sense that I thought it wouldn't be as good as, you know, what the popularity might reflect. Actually, it is one of their better scents, right? And the reason is, for me, the main reason was that it was unique. It's something that I hadn't smelled before. It was unique, and so it was worth considering. But a general comment I want to make is that the unique scents that I'm mentioning are also not the most wearable, right? So you have to consider that. If you're looking for a scent that's wearable and appealing to most people, then you want to look at less unique things sometimes. But I'm just talking about my personal favorites. So Santo 33 was really interesting from the opening, where I got, you know, right away, it smelled like a very fresh cucumbery melon, right? And it's got, the fragrance contains a note of violet, which might be giving off this clean, ozonic feel. But that initial note, the melon note, is quite deceiving, okay? This fragrance very quickly turns into a very dry, woody scent. And, you know, I thought in the middle stages, right, as it was changing, it felt very dry, almost leathery, okay? That's the feel I got from Santal 33. And then it changes further, you know, it continues with that dryness and woodiness. You know, it's obviously based on the note of sandalwood, and so you get, you know, a very, very nice sandalwood note, okay? That's predominant. And the sandal, you know, it starts smelling like a milky, nutty, woody scent, okay? It has a milky quality to it, similar to like a sappy quality, okay? Sappy, milky quality, and a nuttiness. I'm not a fan of, you know, really nutty smells. That's why I didn't like it so much, but I thought it was unique and it was pleasant. But this nutty accord is what you get for most of the life of the fragrance, okay? Additionally, you know, I thought that, like I said, I mentioned this dryness. A lot of the Labo woody fragrances are very, very dry in an authentic way, which might be good, right? But it's dry. So Santal 33 also has a very dusty feel, right? And if you're not a fan of that type of fragrance, you may actually not like Santal 33. So even if it's most popular, you know, maybe you want to consider something else. You have to like dusty, sort of woody scents, okay? And this one, within the woody scents, is more milky and nutty, all right? I thought also that it felt a little bitter at times. Almost felt to me like paper. And then when I check the notes, I see, you know, there's actually a note of papyrus. I don't know if it's, you know, that note is reflecting what I'm smelling, but, you know, like I said, it's almost like paper leathery, right? In terms of this dryness and the dustiness, okay? It's a very woody fragrance. All right, so moving on is Bay 19. Bay 19 came on my radar when I was watching one of, you know, another reviewer's videos where, you know, the guy who reviews, reacts to celebrities' favorites. And one of the celebrities' favorites was Bay 19. And, you know, it sounded like a fragrance that appealed to my taste, right? Something green, you know, maybe fresh, herbal. it wasn't really that. It was actually not what I expected. And it's much more potent, right? So Bay 19, overall, okay, it's extremely dirty, earthy, and I found it very bitter, okay? And the first thought I had was that this is a quite medicinal fragrance. And, you might be surprised I'm listing it as one of my favorites, and that's because my favorite in the sense that it's unique, right? I don't think that I could wear this enough to justify buying a full bottle. And by the way, let's quickly mention the full bottle prices, right? So 50 ml of Labo, $192, 100 ml, $285, okay? So there you go, okay? We got that out of the way. So Bay 19, it just was too medicinal, almost like, Bentley Men Intense on steroids, right? And Bentley Men Intense, appeals to a lot of people. I initially didn't like it, and then I also grew to like it. I don't wear it enough, but it's like that fragrance, but much stronger, okay? And again, bitter and medicinal. I found that there's not much sweetness, and that might just be my take on it, okay? And it gives off a very, again, dry, leafy, in this case, a leafy feel, okay? Almost like, if I remember, almost like a drug, okay? I smelled it all day yesterday, and that's sort of what it felt. Not in such a bad way, but it's like a drug, okay? Now, what it's meant to recreate is petrichor, which is, denotes a smell of, I think, earth, the damp earth after it's rained, okay? And it does that really well, right? So if that sounds appealing to you, then you will like Bay 19. It's this, the smell of petrichor, damp earth after it has rained, okay? It's dark, bitter, not much sweetness, very leafy, right? Which can give off that medicinal and drug-like feel, in my opinion, all right? But again, quite interesting and unique. Okay, so my absolute favorite is next up, which is Bergamot 22. All right, and there are many reasons why this one ended up being my favorite. First of all, Bergamot 22 is one of the most wearable, most likable. There's not going to be a single person who says they don't like it or it smells bad, okay? It's a very, very safe choice. At the same time, to me, it was niche level in terms of quality, and as a citrus scent, I thought that it had interesting aspects that made it slightly unique, okay? So Bergamot 22, when you first spray it, you like it right away because it has a very juicy, tart, rich kind of grapefruit, bergamot feel, okay? Very, very nice citrus. And then what I got that was interesting was this sort of in the background, a good kind of floral nuance, okay? This also balances this note of orange blossom really well. It gives a touch of florals that it's not feminine, but it just doesn't smell like your simple citrus scent because of this balance of citrus, slightly floral aspect. And then here, the secret also is vetiver, right? And you start picking up on the vetiver very quickly. And as the fragrance dries down, it becomes, to me, equal part vetiver as the citrus, okay? It's a very nice balance of the citrus and vetiver to the point where I thought that it smelled similar to Encre Noir Sport, which has that grapefruit and vetiver balance. But that one, of course, opens up with a lot more of that darkness from the get-go. So there's a resemblance, right? This combination of citrus and vetiver is what Bergamot 22 ultimately is in the dry down for many, many hours. And that's, to me, what makes it beautiful, right? Yes, you can substitute it with a scent like Encre Noir Sport, but of course it's not going to be as rich smelling as natural or, maybe as complex smelling either, right? So it is a significant upgrade, but the price, of course, is vastly different. So it's, you can decide whether it's worth it, right? You'll be paying $30 for 100 ml of Encre Noir Sport versus $300, right? But if you have the money, if you're somebody looking for the ultimate citrus scents, right? If you're a fan of citrus scents and you want the best of the best, I think this has to be right up there. It has to be in the conversation for one of the best citrus scents. Okay, so next up is Ambrette 9, and that's actually what I'm wearing on this arm today. And Ambrette 9, another easy to like scent, okay? Ambrette 9. It's not what I expected in the sense that I didn't really know what to expect from the name, from the note, you know, Ambrette seeds. So Ambrette 9, from the opening, it feels right away like a very transparent scent, yet to me, you know, where it was sort of worth the price or niche quality was felt concentrated, even though it was very transparent and airy. That's what I liked about it. Great summer scent, but I think it's just a great kind of scent to layer when you want to be totally inoffensive. You know, it's not an intoxicating kind of scent. It's very transparent, but it has a richness about it. Okay, so basically, you know, what I get is this kind of pear opening. Okay, and sometimes pear is too feminine, but it has a very nice pear note. But the listed note actually is general fruity notes. Okay, so it's a fruity note, but that's to me more pear-like. Because of this combination of, you know, this clean musk. So this is a fragrance that smells fruity, but not overly fruity, and slightly musky, but so clean and so airy and transparent. So not too musky at all. And the best way to describe it, right? You know, as it dried down, you know, I thought I smelled something like this before. This smells a lot like Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Intense for women, and I love that fragrance more than the men's one actually. And you have to try that one out. You know, I had bought that fragrance for my girlfriend, and ultimately, you know, we didn't end up using it because she's very opposed to kind of synthetic smelling scents, even if they're good. So it was a bit headache inducing. But basically, you can consider this fragrance Ambrette 9 as a very niche version, you know, an upgrade from Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Intense for women if you like that scent. Okay, so this also contains the note of lemon. It's not a sour lemon at all, but it just gives it the nice freshness, right? A slight citrus feel, but it's a musky fragrance, but very clean, very transparent. All right, and fruity as well. Okay, so the last in my 5, right, that I tested further, right, that I thought deserved more wearings, was Patchouli 24, okay, which I'm wearing here. And I'll warn you right away, Patchouli 24 is in the whole line, one of the kind of strong intoxicating scents. It's one of those fragrances, all right? It's not going to be for everyone. In fact, you know, if you have to like this sort of scent, and I'm not sure that you'll, you know, get a lot of compliments with this scent, because you may actually turn away people who are not so into fragrances, right? This is a very strong fragrance. So the interesting about Patchouli 24, which I liked and which my girlfriend didn't like, right? It's off-putting, was you spray it and right away you get a booze note, right? It smells literally of strong like liquor, okay? And I like, you know, whiskey. I like the scent of whiskey. I like, you know, trying different whiskeys, right? So if you're into that kind of note, this one is a very strong kind of boozy note. But again, that's not what you get for most of the fragrance, okay? The listed note, there's no booze note, okay? The reason I think you get that feel is this mix of patchouli and vanilla, right? So giving it some sweetness and earthiness at the same time, okay? And patchouli can give off that bitter earthiness as well. So you get this booze note, but it kind of becomes more tame, all right? And then it becomes a very dry, again, intense woody fragrance. But this one is different from, you know, Santal 33 Bay 19 in the sense that it's almost more incensey, right? There's no note of incense, but it's that type of woodiness. It's an incensey, bit churchy kind of feel, and more oriental in that sense, okay? So this scent, I liked it because it transported me right away to, in my imagination, a place like Istanbul, right? Or another hot climate, India, or, place like that, okay? Somewhere a bit more exotic, okay? And Patchouli 24, I think, is a bit more exotic. Slightly medicinal, kind of like, again, Bentley Men Intense, that sort of feel, but this one, very rich, very intoxicating, all right? Again, incensey and woody. So let me quickly run through the others. There's a fragrance called Another 13. That's probably the only fragrance that's not named after the main note, okay? It's got 13 ingredients. It's based on the note of ambroxan. And, without even knowing that, if you smell it and you're familiar with ambroxan scents, you'll get that right away, okay? It almost feels too light initially in the sense that it's very simple, like one of those molecule fragrances, right? But it's there. And in fact, the guy at the store said, well, you got to try this outside. And so I did. And the interesting thing about this fragrance is that on skin, with just one, I think I had, 2 sprays on my hand. As I was walking, I got whiffs of it like constantly, right? I was like, what does that smell? And then I realized it was myself. It was it was Another 13, right? It was that smell. It's another one of those, similar to Ambrette 9 in the sense that it's light, but it's there, it's present, and it's sort of a layer, right? Like a perfect layer onto your skin. It goes so well with that body chemistry, but it's kind of simple, right? It's a pure fragrance. I wasn't the biggest fan of the ambroxan feel, right? Something too metallic about it I don't like, and so that's why I personally would not get Another 13, but it is another popular offering, right? If you're looking for something like that, slightly more metallic, more like a molecule fragrance, molecule 1, that type of fragrance. All right, so let me mention Neroli 36, okay? So I thought Neroli 36 is similar to Bergamot 22 in the sense that it's just as pleasant. It's one of those. And Neroli is one of my personal favorite notes, but it's not everyone's favorite note, right? So it opens up like a citrus fragrance, but if you know Neroli, you know that it's a bit honeyed and it starts turning more soapy. And, without knowing anything about this fragrance, my girlfriend said, as it dried down, oh, I like it. And then, oh, it smells a little bit like a bathroom, right? And that's what the reaction I get a lot. If you're not into fragrances and you smell Neroli scents, she said the same thing I think about, Bulgari's Aqua Amara, right? It's interesting. You get a consistent reaction. It's a soapiness that can remind people of like a bathroom, a nice bathroom, right? So just something to know, right? If you're gonna get this fragrance or test it out. All right, let's cover some of the florals, all right? So Rose 31, Lys 41, Iris 39, Ylang 49, Jasmine 17. So Rose 31, I think, is one of their best sellers. And, I was surprised because to me, it was, I'm not the hugest fan of Rose. I do like it, but it was a relatively simple scent, I thought. But again, you guys can tell me if you think otherwise, if you've worn it more. But I didn't actually give it a good wearing, but I passed it because I wasn't so impressed. I wasn't blown away by the rose scent. I thought that I'd smell better rose scents. Of course, like Portrait of the Lady. I think, I don't know the price these days, but if you're going to go for a rose scent, why not go for something more, powerful like Portrait of the Lady? My favorite among the florals actually was Lys 41. Again, I'm not sure. It's up to you to decide whether the niche price is justified. Lys 41 is very nice. Again, totally inoffensive. It's basically a white floral fragrance, okay? And that's my girlfriend's favorite category. So if you are a woman or if you looking for fragrance for a partner who enjoys white floral fragrances, in Le Labo, this is the one to test out and consider. It's kind of like how in Diptyque you test Dusson. Le Labo, go to Lys 41. It's a nice balanced white floral scent. I thought of, it reminded me of fragrances like Chanel Gabriel. It's a little bit more generic in that sense, but of course higher quality smelling. The scent I liked second most was Ylang, Ylang 49. And I don't have so much to say about it. I think I'd have to test this one more to talk about it, but similar in terms of likability to Lease 41 for me. In terms of, easy to like, cleanness as well. Then there's Jasmine 17, which I thought was a bit light, a bit watery. I guess, look at it if you're interested in the note of jasmine in particular, but I wasn't so impressed, okay? Now, Iris 39 was interesting. Among the florals, this is the one where I had the strongest reaction. I thought, whoa, this is good. Problem is, it smells so high quality, Iris, but then it turns very lipsticky, okay? And that's where, I don't think I would wear it, and, I'm not sure how many people would want that, right? So you have to like Iris, you have to like that lipstick feel of Iris. Iris can give off different nuances, but in this case, a very, very strong lipsticky smell. Okay, two others, all right, before we just kind of wrap this up, mention some others. Vetiver 46, this is one that I probably would have included as my number 6. If I wanted to spend more, I would have bought a sample of this as well, okay? Vetiver, because I like Vetiver. I thought that here it was done really well, but I didn't think that, the reason I didn't get a sample of it is I wasn't blown away. I didn't think that there was anything like that separated this from the other top-notch vetiver scents, and I thought scents like Roja's vetiver or Frederic Mal's vetiver were much better, okay? And we're talking similar price point, right? So I thought, if I'm gonna, get a vetiver scent, I'll spend money on those first before I look toward Labo. Okay, I want something that Labo does better than others, right? And best. So that was vetiver. 10 Noir 29. Okay, this is the one it's weird I'm talking about it toward the end, but I had the highest expectations for. It is one of their best sellers, one of the more popular scents and talked about scents. And to me, based on the note description, it attracted me the most, okay, of all of the Le Labo fragrances. But when I smelled it, I knew it wasn't for me, okay? So the reason the notes were interesting is I think it's got a fig note, okay? But I don't think tea is an official note, but it's supposed to be a tea scent, okay? Tea-like scent. Now, to me, it wasn't the most wearable because the tea accord was quite bitter right away, okay? And this one, again, tell me if the dry down, if you've worn this a lot and it changes, I'd like to try it more, but, I didn't see it changing so much to the point where I would wear it, okay? I thought it felt bitter. It was more inkier and not as fresh or fruity, and not as much of that fig fruitiness as I would have liked and I expected, okay? It's got the notes listed of bay leaf, tobacco, and hay that I think might be contributing to this kind of bitterness that I wasn't a fan of, all right? By the way, just a fun fact, same perfumer as Santal 33, Frank Vogel. And he's done other Le Labo fragrances as well. You can check it out, okay? The ones that I won't really talk about, I actually smelled once, and two of these I actually didn't even smell. You can tell me if they're good. Oud 27 I smelled. It's nice. It's a oud, strong oud scent. That's about it. You have to like oud scents, and then you can explore this further. It's very easy, right? The name tells you exactly what you're getting. Tonka 25, didn't find it particularly impressive. I thought if you're going for a Tonka scent, Jo Malone, Myrrh, and Tonka, to me was more impressive. Okay, I liked it a lot more. Labdamim 18, I didn't try. And Fleur d'Oranger 27, I didn't try, okay? All right, so I don't know how long this video was, guys, but I have covered, the 18 kind of Le Labo fragrances. Some you can't even say I covered, I mentioned, right? But, I covered the ones that I thought are worth considering, okay? So let me know, your thoughts on, my reaction to Le Labo.